traveler.
Change your mind.
You require my assistance? We're gonna be rich. Require my assistance? Who am I?
Let me change your mind.
right.
Okay.
We are live.
Okay. All right. What's up, SHL? And welcome to another edition of Friday Night Frenzy. I'm Markshire, and I'm joined by Chris Plummer of Team 1600 Dust in THL and of the podcast 1600 Dust.
Yeah, and you might recognize me as Rockbase. We're friends on BattleNet. And Markshire and I, we spent most of leading up to this having small talk, so we probably don't have anything to talk about anymore. So let's just make this awkward and uncomfortable for everyone involved.
Yeah, so tonight we have G-Nets facing off against Phenom. G-Nets representing Pocahontas in space, and Phenom playing for Doghouse. Looking at these lineups, we've got G-Nets on Mage, Rogue, Shaman, and Warrior, and Phenom on Druid, Rogue, Shaman, and Warrior. So pretty similar lineups, the only difference being G-Nets has Mage and Phenom has Druid. So based on that alone, I would give Phenom a slight edge, just because Druid is going to be favored over Mage, but it should be a close one.
Trying to get the spectate up and running on my end.
Yep. Yeah, this is going to take a while for me. My computer's pretty slow. It's really going to take a while.
All right, there we go. So we got Phenom starting out with Warrior, and it looks to me like it's going to be Dragon Warrior with the old Finja Water Warrior package. And we've got pretty solid rogue lineup from G-Nets.
Yeah, wow, this is going to be interesting. Water Warrior, well, actually, this is a really interesting deck. Finja is not a card that's seen a lot of competitive play recently. We saw Frozen bring it to the America's Winter Championships in a Pirate Warrior deck and have success with it, but I have not yet seen it in a Dragon Warrior deck, which we can see because of the Alex Straz's champion. So it'll be really interesting to see how this pans out.
And they made a big deal because he was the only one that brought a package like that. So it was something that was really unique, and a lot of people, it can really throw you for a loop. So it's going to be interesting to see how G-Nets can stack up against it.
Yeah, one of the things about the Dragon Warrior deck that I've disliked is that you're usually running the N'Zoth First Mate and the Small Time Buccaneer, so you're relying on that pirate synergy with the weapons, and then you're also relying on your dragon synergy. You need to draw your dragons to proc your Alex Straz's champion and your Blackwing Corruptors. So adding Murlocs on top of that, in my opinion, would make for a pretty inconsistent deck. So I'm really interested to see how this works out.
Absolutely. And that was, and to speak to the strengths of the Dragon Warrior deck, when it curves out, it just feels like one of the most unstoppable decks that you can play.
Yeah,
and
very
it's
true.
Pretty soul crushing when that doesn't happen.
So G-Net's here with a pretty solid start. He's just going to go ahead and coin out the Tomb Pillager here. It looks like Phenom having kind of a slower start here, hasn't drawn any dragons, so he can't really proc these Alex Straz's champions yet. He's just going to have to play both of them for tempo, getting 2/2/3s on the board, which is fine, but it's not really what you want out of the card.
No, and it's also worth noting when that first Alex Straza came down, of course, giving G-Nets kind of a greater clue as to exactly what type of warrior he's facing off against. Making
Exactly.
these Tomb Pillagers stronger. Let's get as much early pressure as we possibly can before he starts throwing any taunts or any stuff down to Black Mage.
Yeah, and then Gnetz, of course, knows that unless Phenom top decks a dragon, he won't have a procced Blackwing Corruptor for the next turn, so that makes him feel a lot better. However, Finja will come down. Phenom has drawn 1 Murloc War Leader, but I wouldn't be surprised if he's running 2 Bluegills and a second War Leader in the deck already. So if this Finja lives, which it looks like it will, we could see a pretty big board come out for Phenom next turn.
Yeah, and with the Mana Despair to play that other War Leader to really kind of take over.
Yeah, Gnetz has a pretty good turn of his own here. I wonder if he'll want to go in on Edwin here.
Seems to, yeah. I think
And then conceal. Yeah, this is just huge. I don't see Gnetz losing from this position.
No, and you know exactly what are you gonna do? And see, there's Rizal's first mate. Okay.
Yeah, and we see the concede from Phenom, and Gnetz is gonna pick up his first win, Rogue over Warrior.
And I think that was with what he was trying to do there. Obviously, there's an element of surprise. We'll throw the Murlocs in there, see if we can get someone. But like you said, that's so wildly inconsistent, trying to do so many things at once. He probably he drew that first mate, and that's it. There's no way I'm coming back.
I mean, we saw his first 3 turns, just a 1-drop on turn 1, but then hero power pass for the next 2. That's not what you want to do against Rogue at all. So Phenom is going to answer Gnetz's Rogue with his own Rogue. This looks to be, judging from the Zerial, I would say that this is some sort of aggro Rogue variant, which is probably slightly favored against the normal Miracle Rogue.
More than likely, and yes, it's very true, but he doesn't have a pirate. Oh, there we go. Okay.
Oh, okay, yeah. Gnetz off to a very good start again with a small time buck on turn 1. Obviously, it's the exact thing that he wants to see playing Miracle Rogue.
Yeah, and just keep the pressure on. You got to out-tempo the other tempo deck at this point. And
yep, exactly.
Again, not necessarily a real clue to what type of what type of rogue Phenom's even bringing. So,
yeah, that's true. So Phenom has a couple options here. That's not the one that I would have gone with.
Well, it was an option. Well,
I was thinking, assuming that he has patches in his deck, he could have played the Swashbuckler to maybe kill the small time buck, or played the Horse Rider and traded in, but he'll just go with the Beneath the Ground, which may or may not pay off with it for him. I guess we'll just have to see.
He needs that turn to swing tempo, and okay, so the burglar's going to assist and see what sort of thing you get. That's really not something that's going to help with your tempo.
The Abyss is nice though. It's able to clear off the Pillager. He can trade the patches in here, and for the time being, have a board lead. We also see a Nubarak in Phenom's deck.
That was the Swashbuckler pull.
Oh, that was the Swashbuckler. Oh, okay, never mind.
So now we start to make the Questing Adventure bigger, and much like last game. I mean, here we go. You're just going to take your adventure or your Van Cleef. You're going to start making something big, and without the necessary resources to really combat that on Phenom's side at this point.
I wonder if you even consider prepping the Abyss at Phenom's face here. You have so much burn in hand. You have 14 burn. I think there's a lot of merit, actually, to just putting that 4 damage to the face and putting your questing out of reach of this cold-blooded Horse Rider. But nonetheless, Gnetz is still in a strong position.
Very strong. And I think what I would like to see from Phenom is he's thinking and playing really, really quick here.
Yeah, it's pretty annoying as casters to have your players play so quickly. You keep having to jump back and forth. But yeah, I really think he would do better if he just slowed down a little bit to think about his plays.
Take a second, think your lines through. Yeah, you're not sitting in the best position, but you're certainly not going to make the most of a bad hand by just throwing stuff out there as quick as possible. And right here is just hit after hit after hit.
I really like this by Gnetz, though, getting the Abyss in, because it sets up for exact lethal next turn. If his board does get cleared, he'll just be able to go Leroy, prep the Cold Blood, and swing the dagger to face. And it looks like that's what's going to happen here.
Well played.
All right.
Yeah, another very fast game.
Yeah.
That's is going to take game 2.
Maybe one of them's afraid the other one's playing Reno or something. That's secret Reno rogue tech. But boom, boom, and boom.
Wow, so now Phenom only has 1 deck left. This is a LHS, so if Phenom wants to win the series, he'll have to win 3 consecutive games with his Druid
With
deck.
Druid. Now, couple of different options for what that could be. Maybe it's the Beast Druid variant that pops up, especially since he obviously likes Finja.
Watch.
Could potentially be just some sort of Jade Druid that we're most used to seeing. Yeah, that's what it looks like.
Okay, that's interesting. I feel like Phenom in his first 2 decks had some pretty off-meta variants, but
Yeah.
so far this looks to be a standard Jade Druid, which is a pretty bad matchup. I would say the Rogue is pretty significantly favored here, especially with G-Nets' hand.
Yeah, and because here's the thing with this Druid, the power and the ability to taunt and slow your opponent down is there, but you got to get there. And this is not a starting hand from Phenom that's necessarily going to get him there without just potentially being dead before it even happens.
No, not really. I like Phenom playing the Thalnos here rather than just hero powering. You really need to cycle through your deck a lot more. You're not really going to get value out of the spell power. So I like that from him. G-Net's really good hand, but he's going to be pretty passive for these next 2 turns, and then later look for an opening to go for a big questing or a big Edwin. So G-Net's with 2 preps in hand. That's a sap, but he's not going to want to use it now. I think he just coins out the Pillager here.
Yep.
Thank you.
Yeah, this is still fine.
Yeah, and it's a similar methodology. You get the opportunity to get out a big body faster than your opponent does, and especially against someone like Druid, where you're expecting them to throw down big bodies. Starting to get those bigger threats on board is going to be to your advantage.
Yep, exactly. And what he's doing here also by getting the board is just stalling until maybe turn 6 or turn 7, where he can get a huge gadgets in turn.
Yeah.
So it looks like Phenom is just going to Wrath and Hero Power here to clear the Tomb Pillager rather than developing a Jade Spirit.
Those Jade Spirits, sometimes it is kind of a tough decision on occasion. When do I play it? You know, they get such good value if you've had a few golems built before then, but sometimes when it's turn 4 and you're only getting a 1/1 for 2/2, it just kind of feels like it's such a slow play.
It does. I think I would have liked to see the Jade Spirit last turn. Wrathing is good if you think your opponent won't have a play in the next turn, because then you can develop the Jade Spirit onto an empty board. But unfortunately for Phenom, G-Nets did top deck the Azure Drake and was able to have a very solid play. And now, I mean, questing, prep, sap,
What
Edwin,
he's setting
this is
up
just ridiculous.
These are the kind of hands and the kind of games as a rogue player you're just loving right now.
Yeah, I mean, a 10-10 and a 6-6 questing on board. Those are just targets that Phenom has to remove ASAP.
Yeah.
And he's not going to be able to do it. He only has 1 mulch.
No, and he was at the point where he could have done, the mulch, like you said, the elephant, whose name escapes me at the moment, but even that wouldn't have slowed him down enough. There was simply too much damage coming through. Behemoth, there was simply too much damage coming through too quickly.
Yeah, I mean, you kill the questing, you get hit in the face with a 10-10 that you don't have an answer for, you kill the Edwin, the questing grows to probably at least an 8-8 next turn, and you still don't have an answer for it. I doubt Phenom was running 2 mulches in his deck, so really nothing he can do there.
No. So not only was it only 1 match this week, but the whole thing took about 10-15 minutes. What we can say before we close out really quick is with G-Nets winning, Pocahontas in Space is now up 2-1, 2 games to 1 that the Doghouse has. So that was kind of swinging it back into the favor of the old piss. So we'll see where it goes from here.
Yeah, Doghouse was up 6-5 before this game, so this will now put Piss up 10-5 is if my math. Wait, no, 10-6. I mean, so pretty nice lead for them going into the rest of the week.
Yeah, and there's going to have to be we got D Lineman and the Anarchists are going to need to overcome the sweep that was just under their team to get them back in the running for the semifinals.
Yeah, D Lineman and Cassidy should be a pretty good match. Okay, there are 2 500 PR players. There aren't that many 500 PR players in SHL because it's such a young league. We saw D Lineman sweep Slimsh in THL this week, which is really surprising because I thought D Lineman's a pretty overrated player, but he was able to get it done.
Well, great. Well, that is going to do it for Friday night. So everyone's got plenty of time to go out, get some more beers, go out clubbing, whatever it is people that don't have kids, unlike me, do on weekends and Friday nights.
Yeah, I mean, too bad it was over so quickly, but still some pretty good games.
Will not be the first time I've heard that in my life. But right. Marshar, thanks for taking the time and hanging out with me for a few minutes, and let's do it again sometime.
Yeah, thanks for coming along.
All right.